Hello everyone and welcome to Learnaholic India. Today we are going to see the difference between machine learning and deep learning. The topics today we are going to cover are what is machine learning, what is deep learning, machine learning process, deep learning process, difference between machine learning and deep learning, and when to use machine learning or deep learning. So without wasting a time, let's start with what is machine learning. Machine learning is a field of study that gives computers the capability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning is one of the most exciting technologies that one would have ever come across. As it is evident from the name, it gives the computer that which makes it more similar to the humans, the ability to learn. Machine learning is actively being used today. Perhaps it is used in many places. Machine learning is the best tool so far to analyze, understand and identify the pattern in the data. One of the main ideas behind the machine learning is that the computer can be trained to automate the task that would be exhaustive or impossible for the human being. The clear breach from the traditional analysis is that machine learning can take the decision without minimum human intervention. Machine learning uses the data to feed an algorithm that can understand the relationship between the input and the output. When the machine learning finishes learning, it can predict the value or the class of the new data point. What is deep learning? Deep learning is a branch of machine learning which is completely based on the artificial neural network. Neural network is going to mimic the human brain, so that the deep learning is also a kind of the mimic of the human brain. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning and it is called as deep learning because it makes the use of deep neural networks. The machine which uses the different layer to learn from the data. The depth of the model is represented by the number of layers in the model. Deep learning is a new state of the art in terms of artificial intelligence. In deep learning, the learning phase is done through the neural network. A neural network is an architecture where the layers are stacked on the top of each other. Now we will see the machine learning process. Imagine you are made to build a program that recognizes the objects. To train the model, you will use a classifier. A classifier uses the feature of an object to try identifying the class which it belongs to. For example, the classifier will be trained to detect the image as a bicycle or boat or car or a plane. These four objects above mentioned are the class that are the classifier which we have to recognize. To consider a classifier, you need to have some data as an input which assigns as a label to it. The algorithm will take these data to find the pattern and then classify it in the corresponding classes. This is the task which is called as supervised learning. In supervised learning, the training data you feed to the algorithm includes a label. The training to train an algorithm requires to follow the few standard steps that are collect the data, train the classifier and make the predictions. The first step is necessary. Choosing the right data will make an algorithm success or a failure. The data you choose to train the model is called as a feature. In the object example, the feature are the pixels or the image. Each image is a row in the data while each pixel is a column. The objective is to use this training data to classify the type of the object. The first step is to consist of creating the feature columns. Then the second step involves choosing an algorithm to train the model. When the training is done, the model will be predict what picture correspond to what objects. After that, it is easy to use the new model to predict the new images. For each new image feeds into the model, the machine will predict the class it belongs. For example, an entirely new image without a label is going through the model. For a human being, it is trivial to visualize the image as a car. The machine uses its previous knowledge to predict as well the image is a car. Now we will see the deep learning process. In deep learning, the learning phase is done through a neural network. A neural network is an architecture where the layers are stacked on the top of each other. Consider the same example above. For that we have to mention where the image is car or a bicycle or a boat or a plane. The training set would be fed to a neural network. Each input goes into a neuron and it is multiplied by its weight. The result of the multiplication flows to the next layer and it becomes the input. This process is repeated for each layer of the network. The final layer is named the output layer. It provides an actual value for the regression task and a probability of each class for the classification task. The neural network uses a mathematical algorithm to update the weight of all the neurons. The neural network is fully trained when the value of the weights given to an output close to the reality. For instance, a well-trained neural network can recognize the object on a picture with a higher accuracy than the traditional neural network. Now let's see the difference between the machine learning and deep learning. There are 5 points on the basis of we can differentiate between machine learning and deep learning. First is data dependency. In machine learning, excellent performances on a small or medium data set, whereas in deep learning, the excellent performances are carried out on a big data set. The second point is hardware dependency. In machine learning, the work on a low-end machine, whereas in deep learning, it requires a powerful machine, preferably with GPU, that is General Processing Unit. The deep learning performs a significant amount of matrix multiplication. The next point is feature engineering, where in machine learning, you need to understand the feature which represents the data. And in deep learning, there is no need to understand the best feature that represents the data. The fourth point is execution time. In machine learning, the execution time flows from a few minutes to a multiple or a couple of hours, whereas in deep learning, execution time is up to the weeks also. The neural network needs to compute a significant number of weights. The last point is interpretability. In machine learning, some algorithms are easy to interpret. For example, logistic regression, decision tree, and some algorithms are almost impossible. For example, SVM or XGBoost. That is, these are the algorithms which are impossible to implement. Whereas in deep learning, it is difficult to impossible for the interpretability. The next point is when to use machine learning or deep learning. In the following table, there are difference between the machine learning and deep learning according to the training data set, feature selection, number of algorithms used, and the training time. So for training data set, the machine learning data set should be small. For deep learning, it should be large. For feature selection, machine learning does feature selection, but in deep learning, there is no feature selection, there is a calculation of weight. The next is number of algorithms. In machine learning, there are many algorithms are used, but in machine learning, there are very few algorithms are used. In machine learning, the training time is short, whereas in deep learning, the training time is long. That's all for today. Always remember, sharing of knowledge is gaining of knowledge. Thank you for watching today's session. If you are new to this channel, then subscribe to Learnaholic India and don't forget to click on the bell icon for the latest video updates. If you like today's video, then like it, share it with your friends. Also, if you have any query, then please comment below. That's it for today. Stay tuned for next video. Thank you.